there's a difference between running plays and running an offense. We want an offense, so we want things that play off each other. We want to know the strengths and weaknesses of those schemes. And then we want to know what the adjustments are if they heat us up or give us problems with it. So you can't run everything and know all those answers. So I think we were about half as many plays on our game plan Saturday night against Rice than we had against Notre Dame. And we probably got too many now. We probably need to cut it down even more. But the bottom line is we want our players to play with speed, and we want them to think quickly, and we want their unconscious mind to react. I mean, when Gerard Hurd drops back, he doesn't need to be thinking about 20 different things. He needs to be thinking about his primary receiver, his secondary receiver, and then running, period. And probably running needs to move up in that category. But so that's what we want them to think like we think. And you just can't do everything and be good at everything. We don't want to be a jack of all trades offense. We want to be known for something. And we want to be physical. We want people to defend the whole field. And we want our skilled players to threaten people, including our quarterback. So if we settle on those things and we're committed to those things, we should see improvement every week. And if we keep getting better, we ought to be pretty good by the time, by the end of the season. So, we have a lot of challenges ahead of us. And we were very simple in our approach last week. We asked our kids to be unselfish and play, snap the whistle as hard as they could. And we knew it wouldn't be perfect, but their effort should be perfect. It takes no talent to play with great effort. And so that's what we asked them to do last week. We still have a bunch of individuals. We don't have a unit yet. We got some guys that need to put their personal feelings aside and sacrifice for the better good. And we're challenging every guy to do that in a locker room. I mean, I must have talked to every single kid in that locker room. And for us to be the type of team we need to be unselfish. We need to. Good teams are unselfish. Good teams have an environment of unselfishness, and we need to embrace that in our locker room, and we're not quite there yet.
Hey Jay, I'm sorry. I think Gerard only played 31 plays. Did it almost feel like a trial run of kind of help you figure out what he can?
We needed to practice, to be honest. We needed more plays because we need to get better, but. It was a very unusual game, with the turnovers and the punt returns. We didn't get the opportunities that we needed, that we normally would get. And matter of fact, that's one of the things that I just was talking to our offense about is that, there's going to be a big difference in this game this week. We're going to be playing a team that's going to throw the ball practically every snap. And we just watched the Arizona game last year. Arizona had 114 snaps in the game against Cal last year. And so I think we're going to have a very different game this week. We have to be prepared to take advantage of every series because they can score and they're very talented offensively. So, and to be honest with you, the rest of our games are going to be like that the rest of the year in this conference. So we have to be prepared to play that way. We have to continue to improve and move the ball and score at a high level.
What is your comfort level with Gerard right now? Do you know what he can and cannot do, what he's comfortable doing?
No, I mean, we're finding out very quickly. I mean, I found out very quickly in that game. Gerard Hurd is an interesting kid. I mean, some players are different in the game than they are in practice, and it's not some guys you can't find out about them until the game. I guess that's the way to put it. And Gerard is kind of that way. Tyrone played a lot of football last year. And he was just a little bit more comfortable with the verbiage and the language and all that stuff that really doesn't matter on Saturdays when you have to make plays. And this is not an indictment on Tyrone. It's just, it kind of is what it is. Gerard his skills don't really show up till game day. They don't show up in practice when it's not live and you can't tackle, okay? So that's why it was so difficult, you know, to evaluate those kids over the last couple months. But Gerard did a lot of things in that game. He's won a lot of football games in high school. He's been on the big stage before, and he was extremely decisive. You know, the first throws in the game he did not hesitate for 1 second. And the deep balls he threw, his feet were on the ground, and he was decisive. He believed in it. You can tell the confidence a quarterback has by the way the ball comes out of his hand. And the deep ball he threw to Burt, man, in his mind, he had thrown that 1,000 times. So I was really impressed with his decisiveness, and that's what we challenged the players. We challenged them to be decisive in everything they did, every step they took. We didn't want a false step the whole night. So I was very pleased with him. I think we can build on him. I think he can be a reflection of what we want to do, and we can just grow with his skills. And you know, and I think when he broke the pocket on the first drive and got the big gain on the scramble, it changed our whole team, changed our whole offense, everybody, because it gave us a spark, and that's what we need.
Jay, in your mind, what makes the Foreman brothers stand out? And then individually, what in your mind separates them on and off the field as individuals? Well,
they're always together. That's the first thing, you know, whether it's before practice, after practice. You know, they're very close. They're very talented. They both can run. They're both very strong and physical, and they're both dynamic with the ball in their hands. I think both of them, as players, are just scratching the surface of how good they could be. And really, that is all about practice. You know, we're still developing the culture of how to practice. Practice with energy, practice with speed. When you play in a no-huddle offense, you can't get in shape. The only way you can get in shape is by going about 8 or 9 plays in a row and running back and forth in between plays and getting lined up as fast as you can. That's how you get in shape for game in this offense. And we're still not quite there yet. We're getting closer all the time, but we're not there. And so, you know, those two kids are still learning to play this way and think quickly and line up for the next play. So they're going to be exciting kids to watch, grow, and develop because they have so much potential, and they're just kind of scratching the surface right now.
Jay Norvell was a receiver that we heard a lot about in fall camp. Is it just because of the guys in front of him as to the reason he's not on the field, or is there something he's not doing?
No, he you know, we played him at tight end a little bit as an H-back, and then we moved him back, so he just lost a couple weeks, and he's been playing special teams. Made some nice plays tonight, so we're excited about him. He's a big, strong kid. He's a different matchup for people outside, and he's going to get his opportunities as we go. I wanted to play him the whole second half, but we only had like 8 plays in the second half, so he didn't get an opportunity.
But you do envision him as a real mismatch?
Yeah, he's a different body out there. He's strong, he's thick, he's hard to play man-to-man, so he's a little bit unique.
Sorry. Jay, just back on Gerard for a minute. You said his skills don't show up until the game. Is that what made it so difficult for him to win that job from the beginning of last spring through the summer and then into this year?
It was hard because the preseason practices, you don't want to hit your quarterback and get your quarterback hurt. And so, yeah, it made it difficult. I mean, we could see his athletic ability in practice, but you know, he just wasn't clean on a lot of things to merit him moving to be the starter. And so, and that's to be understood because Tyrone played a lot of football. He learned a lot from playing, and some of that gave him an advantage over Gerard. But you know, I told Tyrone this, and really, Tyrone has been fabulous through this. He's really grown up and matured. He's going to have to play for us and win us games this year sometime. he's got to be ready at every minute. But I told him, I said, listen, I said, when the team doesn't win, the quarterback takes responsibility for that. And that's just the way it always is. It's not always fair, but it just is what it is. And so it was just a time, it was an opportunity where Gerard needed his chance, and he responded well. And so those kids are both going to have to play well for us. You know, there's going to be times when Tyrone's going to play, and he's going to have to be ready to play at a high level.
Is that why you opted to start Gerard was for that spark, in hopes that athleticism would show up?
I mean, I think, you know, Coach and I and all the guys, we talked about it, and we just felt like it was a time for him to play, you know, and we needed to find out. We need to find out if you know, if he could go play well. And so he needed an opportunity to do that. He merited that. His ability merited that. So it was a good time to see him play, and he did well, and I think now we can build off that.
When Coach, when we talked to Coach Strong, you know, before the season, he said Jonathan Gray is a guy that he didn't mind getting 30 touches a game. Hasn't really necessarily getting that many touches. What can you say has been going on with Jay Gray?
Well, I know all of our backs would love more touches. I would love to give them more touches too. You know, we got to do a better job running the football, number one. I mean, blocking it and running it. You know, we were very disappointed on how we ran the ball against Notre Dame. You know, we basically didn't throw a drop back pass until midway, till we threw Burt that post in the third quarter. We didn't really try to attack them passing the ball on early downs. So we went into that game trying to run it, and we didn't. So that's a problem. And so we would love to get all those backs more touches. But until we run more effectively, it's going to be difficult to do that. So we got to find ways to move the sticks and get first downs and score points. And and we're going to continue to try to run the ball inside and out, but we're going to have to find other ways to move it too. And so because I think all of our backs are good backs, they all are better when you hand them the ball and they get rhythm. So we're going to try to, you know, we're trying to find that mix, and I think we're getting closer. We're not there yet, but we're getting closer to finding out what that is.
Jay, did you enjoy getting back into play calling?
Yes.
It's been a little while. Tell me about that process.
Yeah, I
on
did.
Saturday.
I enjoyed it. It's just, hey, it's a job everybody can do, right? Everybody can call plays. It's just very satisfying because you're involved with the whole team. You know, the whole offense, every position, the offensive line, the running backs, the quarterbacks, the receivers. You know, I talked to most every one of those kids during the game, getting adjustments, and so you're just totally immersed in it. And I mean, it's a real, you know, for everybody that thinks they can call plays, it really starts on Sunday when you start watching a team and putting ideas together and throwing them around with the staff and taking it through every step, eliminating things, throwing stuff out, putting stuff in, things that you think are good are no good. And you got to make a lot of decisions along the way, and you got to work with a group of guys that are professional and want to get the job done, and we have good guys. So, yeah, it's a very enjoyable process to see it and win, and it's very disappointing if you fall short. So, you know, obviously been on both sides of that. But no, it was enjoyable, and you know, we're just going to play one day at a time, and we had a great practice tonight, and you know, our whole goal is to build an identity. We want an identity. We want people to watch us play and know what we're trying to do good.
Jay, to build that identity, do you feel like you are auditioning for this job full-time? Do you want it full-time to be the guy?
I don't know. I got the job today, so that's all I'm really concerned about. I mean, and you know something, and this sounds like a cliche, but I mean, when you coach in this, if you've ever coached one day in a National Football League, you realize you coach for your job every day. Every day. So people always say, oh, God, aren't you guys? No, the sky's not falling. I mean, if you coach 1 minute for Al Davis, you would know that you coach for your job every day. So this is nothing new to me, and I've been functioning like this for a long time, more than a couple decades probably, but a long time. So it's coaching. I mean, if you coach in a high school, you coach every day for your living. So, you know, everybody wants to try to tell us the situation all the time. Believe me, everybody knows what the situation is.
Jay, I think a lot of people though don't understand the dynamic in the room, though. You know, you got Sean sitting across from you. There's Joe. Oh, no, look out! And now he gives you the play card. I mean, can you just talk about that? Explain that dynamic of everybody looking at each other. And
I've known Sean for years, and so he knows me. He knows me inside, okay, and I know him inside. So I mean, a lot of things don't even have to be said. I mean, we understand each other because I know he wants what's best for the team. So he puts his personal feelings aside, and so do I, for the team. You know, Joe is, you know, I coached a long time in this conference, and Joe used to coach about 60 miles away from me, and we used to compete like crazy against each other all the time. And I have tremendous respect for what he's done as a coach, and we talk about that. You know, when you coach in this conference, you watch everybody's film. You know them inside and out, even if you don't know them. And so, you know, I know what he's done offensively for the last 7-8 years. So, so it's easy to communicate with Joe, in my opinion. And so, I mean, we just all want to win. So it's really not that hard. I mean, if you've coached for any length of time, you've been knocked on your ass before.
right.
And we all have. And we're humbled by that. We know things can go wrong. And I think that's just coaching. I mean, that's the world we live in. You know, everybody else doesn't quite understand that, but we do. So that's what we signed on for. Nobody put a gun to our heads and made us come to Texas to coach here. You know, I came here because I wanted to coach here. So, I don't know. That's kind of the way to think about it.
Three last ones, please.
Coach, you know, what's been your message to recruits, you know, who've probably been wondering, you know, what's going on, especially on the offense, and, you know, will you be here after this? I mean, what are you telling guys when you're talking to them?
You know, we tell them what our philosophy is. We tell them what we're trying to do, and we encourage them to come and watch us and watch us grow. I think, you know, we got 3 freshmen starting on offense. I've been coaching a long time. I've never had 3 freshmen start on offense, and so we've got and they're 3 of our better players. We got a lot of growing to do. And so we're not going to be the same team this weekend that we were last weekend. We should be better. And in 3 weeks, we should be even better. And as we move through the season, we should continue to improve. So, you know, I think this team has a lot to look forward to. You know, and I hope Texas fans really jump on board with these kids. You know, we got a great group of kids, and they're fighting their butt off. And I hope everybody supports them because they really need your support.
Jay, at what level has the issue today with your athletic director, Patterson, has that been a factor at all, distraction?
I heard the news, and it's really has nothing to do with my day-to-day activities, so I really don't even know how to comment on it, to be honest with you. We were in meetings all day and, you know, finishing up game planning for Cal, so I'll leave that to Coach Strawn and everybody else to comment on.
Last one.
Jay, is there any update on Marcus Johnson with the?
He's getting better. He's getting better, and we're hopeful that he can play this weekend.
Thanks, gang.
Yep.